If you're a big swim team and you like to order a lot of gear, maybe you ought to check out Swim Outlet Team Division for these reasons. Swim teams receive a 10% discount on bulk orders. Swim teams or organizations get an 8% commission on referred sales. You'll also like their customization services, which is affordable and available at all times during the year for all team gear. With over 50,000 items in stock, you can get most anything you want. Swim Outlet Team Division. You need to try it out. You'll be glad you did.
This is the Morning Swim Show for Friday, May 31st, 2013. I'm your host, Jeff Cummings. USA Diving has picked its team for the FINA World Championships, which starts in a little more than 6 weeks in Barcelona, Spain. Several of the divers on the roster will be competing in their first major international competition, and one of them is Samantha Pickens. She's having a great year, winning the NCAA title for the University of Arizona on the 1-meter springboard in March, then making the World Championship team in 2 events. And Samantha joins us now from her home in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Sam, it's good to see you. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you guys for having me.
Good to have you. So you got away from the Arizona heat.
Yes, just for a few days.
Just for a few days, and you'll be coming back down to get ready for World Championships, I presume.
Yeah.
So it was a very busy junior year for you. Before we talk about what was going on with diving, I just kind of want to know how classes went for you this past year.
They went really well, actually. Being an athlete, it's really hard to stay on top of everything, but I had a really good year altogether, so it was great.
And what's your major?
My major is psychology.
Okay, so you think you want to be a psychiatrist by trade?
Maybe. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go into sports psychology of some sort, so we'll see from there. Not sure.
Do you, when you're hanging around other athletes and you're talking with them, do you kind of practice on them a little bit? Tell me your deepest, darkest fears about diving or something.
Sometimes it actually helps being a diver because there's so many mental games that the sport plays with you. So I've learned a lot just being a diver, and I learned from other divers as well. It's definitely helped me.
Well, you had talked about trying to manage your time with being a diver and an athlete, and I would imagine divers have just as hard a time to manage their time as swimmers. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, you guys are out there practicing 3-4 hours a day. Is that right?
Yeah, we practice in the morning and in the afternoon every day, so it's about the same as swimmers.
So most viewers that are watching this show probably only see the end result of what comes from a lot of training and diving. So give us an idea of what a typical training day is like for you.
So in the morning, we usually just go through our dry land session, which we have 2 dry boards, which are diving boards, but they're not in the water. You do flips onto a mat. And then we have 2 big trampolines that we use that we get hooked into a harness, and our coach pulls us, and we can do as many flips as we want. It helps work on technique and coming out of dives and learning new dives. So we usually do that in the morning along with some conditioning as well. And then in the afternoon is when we'll do mainly about 2.5 to 3 hours of dives in the water. It depends on the day. Sometimes the divers are on platforms, sometimes we're on 3-meter, 1-meter, it just depends on the day. And then after that, we usually do some more conditioning after we're out of the water.
Well, swimmers always talk about the amount of yardage that they do in a given workout. Do you guys have any specific number of dives that would be like, wow, that was a really long practice and we did X amount of dives?
Not really. We'll have some workouts where they're really short and we'll only do maybe 20 to 30 dives, but that's pretty rare, and that's usually when we're getting ready for a big meet. So during the summer, we'll probably get up to about maybe 80 to 90 dives during a workout, which is a lot.
Yeah, I would say that is a lot. But, swimmers train about maybe 8 times more than the race that they're swimming. So you guys do 12 dives or so in a championship. So you're doing about that much. So, again,
right.
It's kind of all equal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tell us about a new dive that you learned in this past year that you have been able to, I would maybe perfect or do really well now.
I learned 2 new dives this year that have really helped me. I learned a front 3.5 pike on 3 meter, which is a pretty common dive for the top girls in the country, along with the world right now. So I learned that. We just have been working really hard on that dive. And I've also learned reverse 2.5 pike, which you go forward and you flip backwards 2.5 times in the pike position. That's actually been one of my harder ones to learn. It definitely plays mental games with you. But you know, the more you do of a certain dive, the more confident you get with them, which I've been doing a lot this year.
So when you talk about playing mental games with something like the reverse 2.5 pike, and let's say you're learning it on dry land first, and let's say you perfect it, how does that translate over to when you're actually doing the dive on an actual diving board into the water?
You know, you can do them so many times on dry land, and your coach will tell you over and over that it looks really good on dry land, and then you go over to the water and you think everything's different, but really it's not. I mean, it's the same diving board. It's basically the same thing. So you need to tell yourself over and over again that you're doing the exact same thing that you just did in the dry land in the water. So I've definitely been working really hard with that. So you just have to do them so many times that you get comfortable with them enough to, you know, do them every single day.
Well, I'd say the work is paying off. You got an NCAA championship on the 1 meter springboard for the University of Arizona. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
Well, you qualified first after prelims. So what was the mindset for you, knowing that even though the slate will be wiped clean for finals, that you were going in after prelims as the best diver in the finals?
Yeah, a lot of athletes will tell you that it's not really their favorite thing to go in being number one. For me, I'm kind of the same way, but it also gives me a little boost of confidence, knowing that I've done it once. So, you know, you just have to put 6 more dives together and do it again. So going into the finals at NCAAs, I just told myself that I had done it once, so, you know, 6 more dives wasn't going to be difficult. I just had to land on my head 6 times, so.
And then translating that to World Championship trials, how did winning the NCAAs and doing so well there translate to you now making the World Championship team?
It definitely helps. Every meet helps my confidence. You know, winning an NCAA title, I went into the rest of my meets coming up right after that with a lot of confidence, and you know, knowing that I can be number one, I thought, okay, well, I can definitely try and make the world team, and to make it was just amazing.
Yeah, now you're going to your first international meet. I mean, that's got to be real exciting to know that, you know, after all these years of really trying to work your way up the ranks, that you know, you're going to the World Championships. It's probably no better place to make your international debut, I guess, maybe except the Olympics.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm still kind of shocked, and I'm so excited to represent.
So you made the World Championship team on the 1 meter and the 3 meter springboards. You won NCAAs on the 1 meter. Which would you say is your favorite height, 1 meter or 3 meter?
I always tell people it depends on the day. I don't really know. You know, I used to say that I really didn't like 3 meter. It wasn't my favorite event. I used to love 1 meter. But I've really come to like 3 meter. You know, I think learning the new dives and becoming more confident on 3 meter, I love doing it. So, I mean, I can't say I have a favorite. I really do just love both of them.
Well, I would have to say that you'll have to like the 3 meter more as we get closer to Rio, because there is no 1 meter at the Olympics.
Yes, that's for sure.
So what do you like about the 1 meter? Is it just because it's closer to the water?
Yes, and you know, when you first start diving in your career, you're basically just on 1 meter. So, you know, I've done a lot more 1 meter than I have 3 meters. So I think, you know, just having done those dives so many more times than I've done the dives on 3 meter, you know, you kind of tell yourself, well, I could do these dives in my sleep. So, you know, there's definitely a good reason why I like 1 meter. But I think by the time Rio comes around, hopefully I'll be telling myself that I can do the 3 meter dives in my sleep. So, okay.
There are a lot of big coaching changes at the University of Arizona, not just on the swimming side, but on the diving side. And sometimes when that happens, a lot of athletes have a hard time making the transition to a new coach. But it seems like it's really worked well for you. You've really made this big jump into this new elite status. What would you attribute to you doing so well this season with a new coach?
I think the fact that Michele Mitchell, who was the old coach there, she's still around, which I think has helped me a lot. She hasn't left the pool deck. And I think Omar, my new coach, has just made me feel so comfortable at the pool. And he's an incredible coach, and I have learned so much from him. So I think we work off each other, so I really think that helps to have like the communication that we do.
And what convinced you to pick the University of Arizona?
A lot of it had to do with the team, the coaching staff. I just fell in love with the whole fair. I was obviously moving really far away, and I needed to have that sense of family around me since my family wasn't going to be out here with me. So, I just fell in love with the team, how hard everyone worked, and really how determined everyone was to win. So.
Well, and now you got this big goal, this big meet coming up in Barcelona. What are your goals for your World Championship debut?
I always set my goals really high. Sometimes I don't reach them, but I think it's really important to set them high. So I would really like to be a finalist in both events that I'm going to compete for. I don't think it's unreachable, so hopefully I will be a finalist.
Is there any new dive that you're going to be working on for World Championships, or is this too close of a window to be working on anything new?
It's pretty close of a window. I won't be doing any new dives at the World Championships, but there are a few dives that I need to work on to get myself ready for the World Championships. Which
would you say, either on 1 meter or 3 meter, is the dive that you're really going to be focusing on to get better on?
I think it's going to be on 3 meter. It's a back 2.5. It's not a very hard dive, but really a lot of girls do them really well, and we call it the hit or miss dive. So there'll be girls where they just every round they hit that dive, and if you miss it, then you're automatically out. So I think that really just hitting that back 2.5 is going to be my goal.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing that, and I'm sure if you do it, it'll be good things will happen to you, Sam. So congratulations on not just winning NCAAs, but making your first World Championship team, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you on more championship rosters in the future.
I hope so. Thank you very much.
All right, good luck and have fun in Barcelona.
Thank you.
All right, so that was NCAA champion and World Championship team member Sam Pickens joining us for today's edition of the Morning Swim Show. Swimming World will be covering the diving events at the World Championships, so be sure to stay with swimmingworld.com starting in mid-July for our diving coverage. I'm Jeff Cummings. Thanks for watching.